Hi everybody, thank you for stopping by Living To Do's review of Married at First Sight Season 15, Episode 10, called Moody Monthiversary. Before I get started, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it and I thank you in advance. So let's go ahead and get started with this review. This episode, it had some manufactured drama. Don't appreciate that. But let's get started with Binh and Morgan. Okay, I don't like Morgan. She just drains me. She's just, something about her. I don't trust her. I don't believe her. And she just annoys me every time she's on the screen. Now, Binh and Morgan are having some issues. Morgan tells her friend, Deborah, that Binh is going to Justin daily, talking behind her back. He is talking to him when he talks to him on the phone, it's on speakerphone, and Alexis hears. And sometimes, actually Alexis tells Morgan that Binh's over here talking about you, talking about your marriage. Alexis, she annoys me too. Almost as, not as much, but almost as much as Morgan annoys me. Well, they're buddy, and she's going around telling her what Binh is saying to her husband. And because of this, Morgan gets upset and she's pretty much kind of left Binh just where he is. And I just don't think this would have happened if Alexis didn't open her big mouth. I feel that Alexis thinks she knows more than she actually knows. And just because she got something on her mind, she thinks she needs to let it off. And I'm annoyed. That's another reason why I can't stand her, is her mouth. She needs to mind her business. These people could have worked something out or whatever, but you had to put your 2 cents in. And now they just imploded. Now, Alexis was on the after party right after this episode, and she does regret opening her big mouth to Morgan and ruining a possible marriage or having something to do with the downfall of it. I'm glad that she can acknowledge that. Morgan is waking up alone. She says she's drained and she's tired. And she goes boxing, she's into her boxing. She just really wants to show that off. And to get her aggression out. And for some reason, Binh plans to go to the wedding spot. They had a different wedding spot than everybody else since theirs was delayed. And they were going to spend their month anniversary there. And Binh gets there. He has roses. He booked the honeymoon suite. And Morgan, she's coming and she already knows she's going to tell him off. She has a lot to tell him and she can't wait. She got to get a lot off her chest. So of course, I'm sure you've seen the commercials for this and the episode itself where he gives her the roses and she throws them on the ground. And looks him dead in his eye and starts to read him or thinks she is. And Binh tries to defend himself, but he can't get in a word edgewise. And she got it off her chest. And she told him how, I know you're talking to Justin. I know Alexis told me she heard you on the speakerphone, what you said. And we never really got to what was said. And I'm sure, I don't know, I just feel like it's probably, again, not a big deal. The fact that we don't know, her history of blowing things up, we can't give her the benefit of the doubt. It might have been just the smallest of things. I don't know if we'll know in the next episode or whatnot. She walks away from Justin and she's leaving. She's not going to spend the time that he's booked there. and the producers stop her, and she says, I guess they're trying to talk her into staying, or I guess Binh had the nerve to walk up to her, and she says something like, "You better own up to everything or I'll walk." And he says he's sorry that he hurt her, that he talked to Justin several times, but I guess he was just venting. From what he's saying, he didn't talk bad about her. He was just venting. What he was venting about, I don't know. He just felt that he was just talking to someone that he could trust. And then I'm like, can you really trust him? Because you can't trust his wife. And if you can't trust her, then you shouldn't be talking to him. Because things like this will get back. I guess, what's his name? Justin would have never told Morgan what was said to him in confidence. But I guess, Alexis didn't see it that way, that whatever was being said wasn't told to her in confidence, so she can go tell it. So they show Ben going to the honeymoon suite, getting his MAFS basket, with their wedding photos and their vows and other little gift things in the basket. And he's saddened and shocked that his marriage has turned out the way it has. He feels like he was punched in the face. And I guess he was crying maybe a little, or he was kind of sniffling. I think that was just for drama. But I wish the best for Ben. And quite honestly, there's so many women out there that will treat you right, and you'll get a good start on hopefully a healthy relationship. Leave her where she is. Let's go on to the next couple. All right, the next couple will be Lindy and Miguel. Not much to say about them. They went on a boat ride for their month anniversary. And Lindsay, she says she's less nervous and anxious. She's real comfortable around her husband, Miguel. She's noticing that she's not biting her nails. They got their MAFS basket with their wedding photos. They looked through it. They just seem very happy. For the most part, it seems like a healthy relationship. They are my favorite couple, but not much happened with them at all. So, unfortunately, let's just go into the next couple. Okay, the next couple is Kristen and Mitch. Kristen gets together with her friend Zoe. They're making candles. They're talking about her marriage. And Kristen is saying that they have fun together. She thinks it's a good marriage. Now, she does have some issues with Mitch not supporting her dreams of flipping homes. He thinks it's a negative connotation, that somehow success is like an evil thing against poor people. She's really trying to make this work. She thinks if she gives the best version of herself as a wife, that she'll get the best version of a husband out of Mitch. I just don't think it works that way. I guess in a perfect world it would, but not here. They do go off to their month anniversary. They celebrate it away from home. They go to Julian, I think it was, California. I've never heard of it. But they go to a quiet mind retreat. Now, I do like the idea of it. I didn't like how it looked. It looked very makeshift. I would like to go to a retreat that looks nice. It looks like somebody put some effort into the building, the interior furnishing. I just didn't care for what they had. But okay, whatever. They get in there and they're doing like yoga, I guess, and stretching. And Mitch, he's doing it, but he is moaning and groaning and grunting, embarrassing his wife. But he's getting whatever he needs to out. He reminds me like that dog that she has, all that noise that dog makes. That was Mitch. Grunters and groaners. I guess Kristen is a magnet for that. When they're at their retreat and their room, they get their Married at First Sight basket with their wedding photos. And they did have a tender moment reliving their wedding day. they just seem real tender and sweet, and just really enjoyed one another. And I think Mitch, he just seems to be more vulnerable. We didn't see too much of his weird ways, his particular ways. He seemed, they just didn't show it. He just seems to let go of that. And I think Kristen really enjoyed his company, being in his company. That he seemed like a normal type of guy for a moment, for what we saw anyway. And I think he likes her, the way he holds her and looks at her. It's way different than when they first met. So he's getting used to her, and I think he likes it. Well, that was pretty much it for them. Not a whole lot went on. So let's get to the next couple. Okay, the next couple is Stacia and Nate. Stacia had her mother over, Stacy, and they're baking their grandma's cookies, I guess a recipe that their grandma had. And in their activity, Stacia's talked about she's struggling with trust with Nate. Her mother wants to know why she struggles with this, and she says she's been let down. You have to earn trust. And Stacy, Stacia's mother, she was crying when she kind of had a confessional, and she says that she feels at fault because Stacia has seen her in bad relationships, and she told Stacia to give Nate a chance. Okay. Later, we had Stacia go over to Kristen's house. She's going to pick up the dog Luna. Stacia and Nate are going to take care of Luna while Kristen and Mitch go away. I guess they're going to go a night or two for their month anniversary. And so Stacia's very hesitant with the dog. She never liked dogs. You could see that. And she says that Nate wanted a dog, so they're going to, dog sit to see how this is going to work. And Kristen was going over all the little items that the dog would need, and one was a lint brush. And I'm thinking, ew, you do someone a favor with a dog that sheds, and a woman who's OCD. They should have showed us a little bit more of that. That would have been funny. And she has to take the dog to the bathroom. It's just things that Stacia doesn't want to do. She just thinks, because Kristen told her she has to pick it up, and she just wants it to go to the earth. I know, right? It is so cute to see Stacia struggle with Luna. She later showed Luna staying at the door. I think Luna was waiting for her mom. She was just facing the door, wanting to know where her mother was. And then Nate also showed the dog. He was filming the dog humping her bed. And Nate thought, she's a woman, a girl dog. Why is she doing that? I thought that too. Girl dogs do that? That Luna is a whole nother character. She's what, the 11th person on the show. They also showed Nate and Stacia going to the lawyer's office to sign a prenup because Stacia was not playing, and I don't think she should be. She's doing the right thing, and she brought him in to the lawyer's office. He willingly signed the prenup, and they talked about their investments. I guess whatever they have together will be theirs. If they split up, they can split that up. But what are all their investments and businesses that they have on the side, that won't be a part of the bargain if there is a breakup, which is good. And I still think Nate is playing her, whatever. And he's willing to do all these things because he's going to scam her another way. That's all, and I believe. Anyway, they go out on a little date, and they go to a picnic, and they're sitting at a picnic table, and they had these hanging roses, and I just loved that. I thought that was pretty, and they just look like a nice couple dating and young love falling in love with each other. They like to dress. They're very fashionable. He tells Stacia that he's falling in love with her, and his love for her is growing. She wants to know where she is on that scale of his, and he's like a 7 or an 8 because they got over a hurdle. They were just being real cute. I don't care. It's nice to have that feeling of love and butterflies and whatnot, and she wants to experience all that, but still, watch your back. And he does commit to her. I guess they commit to each other by getting matching tattoos. Not a fan of tattoos, but okay. And for Stacia, I just think she's just too pretty for that. I just see her with smooth skin and not all that writing all over you or whatever. But you just don't know people. I guess you just don't know. So they get matching tattoos. I think it's their wedding. Is it their wedding anniversary? Something on matching tattoos on their hand, the side of their hand. And Stasia's a little reluctant just because it's going to hurt. But let's see how committed. You've only been together a month and you want to do that? That just seems a little too soon for me. I don't know. Okay, let's move on to the next couple. Okay, the next couple is Justin and Alexis. And Justin goes off fishing with his brother Donnell, talk about his marriage. And you could just see, I just saw a different demeanor in Justin. He wasn't his happy-go-lucky self, just happy. He was just to be so tall. He was so down, and it just really showed. I actually think it might be guilt with the dog bite, his dog biting that dog, and his dog being away from him. Nothing was said about it this episode, but he just seems down. He doesn't seem like himself. And he's goofy and whatnot, but I definitely don't want to see him hurt. Alexis tells her friend that Justin can't self-regulate, and maybe she's right. I don't know about Justin. I don't know if this is a good match. Just everything about them, the aesthetics, everything, they just don't seem right for one another. They have an activity of scrapbooking, and they're putting their photos they've taken while, in their real brief relationship, and they're making a scrapbook out of it. And they're talking about relationship issues and whatnot while they're doing it. Again, Justin just seems down, and though, he participated, I just see his demeanor just a lot lower than normal. After which, at the end of the show episode, the group got together. They got on a party bus, all the couples except Morgan and Binh. And we see Mitch. He got dressed up in a blazer and some dress shoes, looked really nice. They went over, once they get to their destination, after they got their party bus, they're having dinner as a couple, and Miguel he expresses that things are better than he could have expected. And Lindy said that Miguel is more than worth it, which is so nice. I just love the direction their relationship's going. And Stacia said, they had growing pains, and she thought she knew who she was. And I guess you're very confident in yourself, and you think you can handle a relationship, but then you never know what personality you're going to get. You're never going to know how you really feel. Maybe it's a feeling you never felt before. So she's hopefully it's just growing pains. She's growing up a bit and then letting somebody in her life. Nate seems to think that they complement each other, and they do. And he says in front of the group that he thinks he's falling in love with her. And then they get to Kristen and Mitch. And Kristen was going to speak, and she wanted Mitch to go first. And Mitch had some nice things to say. Actually, I don't remember him really talking about Kristen as much as he's talking about himself. And Then Kristen started. She says, you are an incredible man, but what about her? She says she's trying, but when does Kristen get to be Kristen? She feels that she's going to snap if she has to conform and do things that he wants to do because his feelings will be hurt. He's so stuck in his ways, but the plastic, and that's just so constricting on somebody. I mean, you can try it to appease somebody for a moment or two, or but a lifestyle, that's not you. That's not really you, and it's just too rigid. She says she's gonna snap, and she says that when she does, she just might lose Mitch when she snaps. But I don't know if he teared up a bit, but he listened quietly, and he encourages her to be herself. And he says, you be you, and that won't shut me up. So I think they have a good line of communication, but he needs to let her be her. She's a whole individual. She doesn't need you to think for her. She has her own ideas, and she's a good, decent person. You don't need to change her. When they got to Alexis, she didn't want to talk at that moment because when Mitch was talking and he was telling how much he's changed and grown, Justin chimed in and says, oh, I can see the growth in you. You are growing. You have a changed man, And what was happening was Alexis saw this, but she doesn't see the growth in her husband, but he can see it in somebody else. And she felt a certain type of way about that. What I think about Justin, I think Justin was saying those things about Mitch because he was just jumping on the bandwagon. I just noticed that about Justin. Whatever the flow is of the conversation, he'll jump on it. So everybody was praising Mitch, and he wanted to have his 2 cents in some, camera time. Yes, Mitch, I can see the growth in you. You're this and this and that. I don't know if he really did. I just really think he was jumping on the bandwagon thinking he's supporting a friend. His wife sees this and says, how can you see all this and you're not doing that for yourself? And she doesn't want to say anything because she knows that her husband is ultra sensitive and that, she'll say this for later. I mean, after all, you did already ruin another marriage with your big mouth. But she wanted to go off camera, and she did. And I think she was talking to Stacia about her husband. And then Justin was talking to one of the producers. And of course, I'm sure he's tearing up. He doesn't know what to do. He can't. He has to know himself more. Then you can be confident in yourself and not just say it to actually be it. And I think when you're actually confident in yourself, you're going to have less tears. You're just so scattered trying to please everybody, and you just can't. You just can't. And unfortunately, you trying to support a friend just rubbed her the wrong way because you didn't understand what was going on. I just don't think he understands himself. That's just my observation of poor Justin. But I really didn't even care for Alexis getting as mad as she did about that. I just don't think she should have blown it up as much as she did anyway. And she ought to see a pattern in her husband. Maybe not now, but she could see a pattern in her husband that he just goes along for the get along. And yeah, and every time you have a thought, maybe in her case, she should wait an hour or a whole day before she expresses that to him. Because I think she's the one kind of ruining her marriage. In this time that this was going on with this little bickering with Justin and Alexis, Lindy made a comment to her husband that she wanted Tree's food, and Tree is Justin because he wasn't eating it. And Alexis was offering his food. Yeah, take his food because he's pouting. In all their little bickering, they said they need a break from one another, but they kept having little pet names for each other, which in a way I kind of liked. It just showed that, yeah, we're having a moment, but it's just a moment, dear, babe, and all this they kept saying to one another. Wasn't dear, but babe, and this, babe, and this, babe. And I think that's good. I honestly think a lot of things that they do, it might be Alexa's idea, but I do agree with that just because you're having a little spat or a moment, it will pass, and it's not, there's no reason to call each other out of their name. So I do support that. But that was it for this episode. It was an okay episode. I think I was just really turned off with Morgan. I'm just really turned off by her. And if she doesn't come back, I'm okay. It's okay by me. But that's it for now. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. But I gotta go because I got living to do. Bye.